I'm Richard Foster. I currently play with Ross County Football Club. My previous clubs include Aberdeen, Rangers, Bristol City and St Johnstone. How did I get into football? Pretty much my dad. From as young as I can remember, I had a football and we would always go outside and play, whether that was doing keepy-ups, whether it was kicking the ball against the wall, whether it was playing with him. One of his main focuses was always to get me to kick the ball with both feet. So as my career progressed, I became almost as comfortable on my left side as I am on my right side. And I think his kind of early coaching down that route certainly helped me now, kind of being happy to play on either side of the pitch. But yeah, I would just certainly say initially it was my dad that got me into football, and then that kind of progressed into the primary school team. I played with Greenwards Primary School from primary 5 through primary 7, and then the next step was probably the Elgin Boys League. So I went there for a couple of years, and I was fortunate enough to be picked for the kind of select group, so the kind of the players that they deemed were the best selection of all the guys that went there. And then we went to a few different tournaments, and at a couple of these tournaments I was spotted by Neil Simpson, who was the kind of the scout for Aberdeen, if you will, up in that area, and I was invited to go to Aberdeen at trials at 12 years old, which I went. It was April. I didn't turn 12 until July, but April. Went there for a week's trial, and then was asked over the course of the summer to go back and start the season, and that's where I remained until I was 26, I think. So I was Aberdeen there. A load of great times at Aberdeen, loads of memorable games that I played in, qualifying for Europe, scoring in the Europa League, playing Atletico Madrid in Madrid, playing at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich, scoring goals for Aberdeen, scored important goals for Aberdeen, finishing third in the league. Had a great time, a lot of great memories about being back at Aberdeen. You know, obviously now I get a little bit of attention when I go back to Pittodrie because I moved on to Rangers, but it was the kind of start of my career, and I was there for, well, like I say, from 12 until 26, so it was a long time, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and I've got a lot of fond memories from that time. Moving on from there, I went on loan to Rangers for a year in the 10-11 season, which was strange. You don't often get players that go from Aberdeen to Rangers on loan. I think Walter Smith told me when I first met him that they tried to sign me on a permanent deal in the summer, but I don't think, there's a little bit of tension between Aberdeen and Rangers, and I don't think Stuart Milne wanted to do any business with Rangers at that point. So it never happened then, but then a couple of months later I went there on loan. And in terms of first team football, I knew going there with the squad of players they had, I would be on the fringes. I would be a bit part player. I'd be kind of utilised if there was injuries and loss of form and such. And I got my head around that quickly. And within 2 weeks of going to Rangers, I can remember I played in the Aberdeenshire Cup. We lost on penalties to Cove, and that was a Tuesday or Wednesday night. And then 2 weeks later, I was sitting on the bench at Old Trafford in the Champions League, kind of trying to get my head around the change in my fortunes, if you will. And I can remember Kirk Broadfoot going down injured with a head knock after 26 minutes or something. And I don't think I've ever been as scared in my life as I was in that moment of the prospect of I might need to go onto this pitch here. I don't think I'm ready for it. But it was great. It was a great experience. A few weeks later, I got a tap on the shoulder from Walter Smith, and he just said, "Phil, it's the game tomorrow. Do you fancy playing?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course, great, right, okay." And that was it. That was all he said. And then the next night, I was in the team for the Valencia game at home, make my Champions League debut. front of a packed Ibrox. The experience, the music, everything about it was brilliant, and that was probably the kind of pinnacle of that season. I know we went on to win the league, but I just think, you know, as a football player, you want to play in the Champions League, and I was fortunate enough to get the chance to do that, and so that was quite special for me, certainly. And then, like I say, we went on to win the league that season. I can remember driving my car, and Celtic were playing a game in hand away to Inverness. I think it was the infamous one where Neil Lennon kicked the balls. And I can remember driving the car, and right towards the end of the game, Inverness were winning the game, and we needed them to win the game. And I think it was Paddy McCourt got the ball, and he was driving with the ball, and the commentators getting all excited because he's getting into the box. And then there was a challenge, and he goes down, and there was a pause, and I can remember taking an intake of breath, thinking, penalty. It's a penalty to Celtic. They're going to draw the game 3 each. I think it would have been, and they'd have been a point ahead of us. But no, the commentator eventually said no penalty, and I can remember cheering and kind of punching the steering wheel in the car and just kind of getting that feeling that, you know what, this is going to be our time, and it was, and to be part of that, albeit a small part, but to be part of that squad, the memories will always live with me. You know, to be part of such a dedicated squad, such a squad that are just so hell bent on winning games, and they will do whatever it takes, and having that ability to raise their game when it mattered, it really set them out. You know, the Steve Davises, Lee McCullochs, Alan McGregors, you know, Kenny Miller, these guys, you know, at the top of their game, and just being able to always find that extra gear when they needed it, and to be a part of that squad and to experience that was pretty special, and it's, you know, it lived with me for the rest of my career, up until now. So then moving on from there, I went back to Aberdeen for a spell for 6 months. I went back in the pre-season. Craig Brown and Archie Knox were the management team, and they pulled me in after a week or so of pre-season and said, look, we feel that you're a leader within the dressing room, would you like to be the Aberdeen captain? So I said, at this point, I was 25, 26, being asked to be the captain of one of the biggest teams in Scotland. I was absolutely buzzing. As career highs go, it's right up there. You know, I was so proud to be leading out Aberdeen. I managed to do it at Parkhead, I think Rangers, Ibrox. You know, these Pittodrie, with packed house at Pittodrie. These are kind of special moments that I can remember walking out and thinking, you know what, I'm the captain of Aberdeen at this point, and it gives you a spring in your step. It makes you kind of puff your chest out, and it was back to a very special experience for me each time I got to do it. You know, that season, it was a pretty up and down season, and then come the January, I got a chance to go down to Bristol City. I think Derek McInnes had went down a couple of months previous, and they were needing a right back who can also play on the left if needed, and luckily my kind of name was put forward to him, and he took me down there. And it was a difficult time. We went down there at Bristol, were bottom of the league, and we managed to the first season there until the end of the season, we managed to scrape through and get safe. And then I can remember going back in pre-season with a bit of optimism in terms of football, but I was kind of missing home. I was kind of missing being back in Scotland. So it was tough, but then, like I say, we started the season off great. We beat Cardiff, we beat Crystal Palace, 2 teams who eventually got promoted. But unfortunately, we took a bit of a hit in the middle, and I think we went 9 losses in a row, and that hit us hard. And then, you know, that we never really recovered from that. Derek McInnes lost his job, a new manager came in. My face didn't fit with him. He didn't. You know, Sean O'Driscoll came in and he was very honest with me and told me that I wasn't going to play and that I could move on if I could find a club. So the culmination of that season was we got relegated, which was disappointing. But, you know, these are the things that you go through in your career, and they actually make you stronger, because you realise that you don't ever want to suffer that again, to feel that again. So from Bristol went back to Rangers. At this point they were in what would now be League One. And yeah, the first season was good. We went undefeated without kind of being amazing. But it was tough because the fans' expectation was still the same as it had been, you know, when I'd been there playing in the Champions League. So it was very tough. A hard couple of years in terms of the kind of scrutiny of the fans. You know, you're living in Glasgow and you're not playing well or you're not winning games, and the scrutiny's on you. And everyone's got an opinion, and everyone thinks that they can tell you how you should play and what you should do, and that you're not doing this right and you're not doing that right. And it's mentally really challenging to try and rise above that and still going to work with the same kind of vigour and enthusiasm as you always had. And I struggled to do it. It got the better of me at times, and I kind of probably took that into my job, and it kind of soured the experience I had at Rangers the first time, because you know it just became difficult. It became quite a toxic environment, and then obviously not getting promotion back up, you cut ties with Rangers, and it always leaves a sour taste in your mouth that you never achieved what you went back to achieve. But also the way they handled it, I don't think it was great. The way I handled it, it was, I suppose you move on in football, but it wasn't. It didn't sit well with me, the fact that we hadn't managed to get promotion. And luckily then I got the opportunity to go to Ross County, and what would be one of the most bittersweet seasons of my career, I think. You know, we managed to get top 6. We won the League Cup, which for a club like Ross County was an incredible achievement. Managed to beat Celtic in the semi-final. We beat Hibs in the final, which is, you know, a great experience. As a football player, you want to win things. And fortunate enough, we won that. And then I was told that after playing, I think something like 42 appearances, I was told that I wasn't consistent enough. Now, if there's one thing that I like to feel that I bring to a team, to a squad, it's a level of consistency. I'm very rarely a 10 out of 10. I like to think I'm very rarely a 1 or 2 out of 10. I just sit somewhere in the middle, at number 6, 7. That's where I sit. That's where I've been my whole career, and I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. But yeah, so to be told I wasn't consistent enough was a bit of a shock and a bit of a blow, especially after playing so many games. But like I say, I went there with finishing in the top 6 with a small team like Ross County and a league winners medal. So I moved on from there to went to St Johnstone, and it was good. I think I've probably played some of the best football in my career there. I think obviously I would imagine you've heard about the disputes and the disagreements I've had with managers over my career. Jimmy Calderwood being the first, Tommy Wright being the second. Yeah, that's about it. Jim McIntyre let me go when I was at Ross County. But no, what I do have for these two guys is a lot of respect, because of all the managers, I mean, Walter Smith apart, because he is the legend that he is and he's done what he has done, but Calderwood and Tommy Wright, probably they understood me better than most, in my desire to win, and the anger that builds inside of me when I don't personally perform the way I know I can, and sometimes I promote that in the right way, and I get the best out of my teammates, and they kind of jump on the bandwagon, and sometimes I promote it in the wrong way and it doesn't quite work and it doesn't transpire. But these are the things you learn. So yeah, I had two decent, 4 seasons. I think it was 4 in total, because 3 or 4 seasons at St Johnstone, which were enjoyable. And like I said, we finished 4th the first season I was there with their highest ever points total, which was a good achievement. Good squad of players, a lot older players like myself, the same kind of mentality. And then obviously now I find myself at Ross County, and that is the end of my waffle. But you know, my contract's up at the end of this month, and I'll be 35 in the summer. But hopefully there's still kind of life in these old legs yet. I still feel strong. I still feel fit. I still feel quick. So hopefully I can stay clear of injuries and get myself another team and continue playing for as long as possible. But that's, in relatively brief terms, that's been my start in my career. So hopefully you've enjoyed listening and I haven't bored you too much.